Are you a beginner and want to learn bar chords but don't know where to start? Well, in this video we're going to be talking about just that, so stick around, and then after the intro we'll get into it. What's up guys, my name is DiDio and you're watching the DiDio show, and in this video we're talking about what you should learn before you learn bar chords. And in just a few moments we're going to be talking about what bar chords are, so if you don't know, make sure you stick around. But before we get into it, make sure you like this video if you haven't already, subscribe, and then ding the little bell so you get notified, and then of course comment if you have any questions or video suggestions. I'm really open to everything, so put them in the comments section below. So let's go ahead and get into the content. What are bar chords? Now you might have heard that phrase before, bar chords. Bar chords. It sounds very interesting. Bar chords, simply put, are where you move the nut of the guitar up using your finger. Like, I know, mind blown, right? That is basically what they do. A bar chord is taking one finger, depending on which one it is. In the next video I'm going to be coming out with how to play bar chords. And we're going to be talking about which finger to use for the main kind of bar chords. So if I took the G minor bar chord here, for example, what I'm doing is I'm barring my first finger across the 3rd fret. Now just that by itself doesn't really sound right, but if you look at it closely, I'm doing an E minor shape. But look at this, if my finger's over the nut, it looks like I'm doing an E minor again. If I'm doing an E major, an E major. Here's an E major chord. Here's a major chord. So this is what if I did an A chord? Let's look at this, let's see. So it's just like moving the nut up, which an easier way to play that bar chord is like this. And we'll get into that later. So make sure you subscribe to get all that content and make sure you don't miss anything. So like I said, bar chords, simply put, are barring your finger across the strings, moving the nut up to whatever position you move it up to. Now you might have already started experimenting with a lot of these techniques, but something I found whenever I've been teaching some other students is that this technique that I'm going to show you in this video is really helpful for before you start to play bar chords, or before you start to learn bar chords or practice them. This is like the putting your toes into the water to see what the temperature is like. So let's get into it. I'm going to be teaching you a chord. Now if you know this chord already, that is awesome. Thumbs up, fist bump. But if you haven't already, that's okay. We're going to learn it in this video, and then afterwards we can do another fist bump, so that'll be cool. With this chord, you are introduced to the bar chord family, I guess. And the reason why is because this is kind of the easiest form of bar chord that you can do. So that's why we're doing this before I release a video on how to play bar chords. Just so that way you can dip your toes into the water and be able to see what it's like to bar with your fingers. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to play an F chord, which might have seemed impossible to you. I mean, you look on the chord chart, the chord diagrams, and the F chord is like, what is going on here? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to be able to play it, so yes! But let's go ahead and jump into how to play the chord and why it'll help you with bar chords. Okay, so the main reason why this will help you with bar chords is because you're getting used to it. And where we're getting used to it is with our first finger. We're going to be barring across the 1st fret of the B string and the 1st fret of the E string. So try and get that as clean as you can. If you notice, it starts to sound like this. Then keep working until you can get it. Like that. And right now we're flattening our finger kind of more over 2 strings. And that is a really basic bar technique that you can use. Now this isn't just a whole chord. We're going to keep working at it. Next we put our 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. And again, do it until it's clean and it sounds real nice. Then we'll take our third finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the A string. And then our pinky finger goes on the 3rd fret of the D string. So keep practicing, trying to get real clean notes. Do it until you can hear every note real clear and concise. But make sure you don't hit the low E string while you play this chord. That's terrible. This is a movable chord though. Now you get a little extra out of this video in this next part. So we can take this chord shape and we can move it. You can basically move it to wherever. Now, especially within this video and the next video coming up, you really need to memorize the notes on the low E string and the low A string, both of these strings. You really need to memorize that because that's the way you'll know what chord you're playing. So you can play the chord shape we just learned right here and know that it's an A because the 5th fret on the low E string is an A note. So that's the way you can know that. The fret that your 1st finger is on. Now, in the next video, once you get this chord shape down, and in fact, if you want to view the playlist, I've got a full playlist coming up. Once I create the next video and put it on YouTube, then I'll create a playlist for playing bar chords. And this is the first video that you watch, but then the next one, you watch it, and you'll realize that you're still doing this chord shape, but you're doing it with one finger, your 1st finger, stretched all the way across all 6 strings. So that's where learning the notes on these 2 strings really comes in handy. But remember, you can move this chord shape anywhere you want. Just remember this first one, with your 1st finger on the 1st frets of the B and E string, that is an F chord. So yeah, lots of interesting things you can do with this. Alright guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you got value out of it, please smash the like button, subscribe. If you haven't already, then ding the little bell so you get notified whenever I put out new videos. Comment if you have any questions, and I think that's pretty much it. Go ahead and click one of these boxes right here. Click the subscribe button. I made it pretty easy for you. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.